Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Erik Voss, and one of the more mysterious Easter eggs in the Loki finale has finally been revealed, and like any clue we find in these shows, this revelation actually becomes its own Nexus event, whose historical implications extend far beyond the event horizon, causing me to bolt awake in a cold sweat gasping, magnificent! The Loki Episode 6 opening imagery packed in dozens of Marvel references, including this mystery ship that many of us spotted but struggled to identify right away. Loki head writer Kate Herron confirmed that fans might recognize this ship and quote, "It's been in a few things." And we have now learned this is actually the ship of the Collector Tanileer Tivan, Benicio Del Toro from Guardians of the Galaxy. It was seen in the background of nowhere in Avengers Infinity War as Thanos cast a Reality Stone illusion of torturing Tivan in order to trick Gamora and the other Guardians. In various shots, you can see this ship's golden plating covering its blue frame and wings extending from beneath the cockpit, angled downward when parked. And this was confirmed by Loki VFX supervisor Brad Parker in an interview.
There was a hidden detail or two. There are a few little elements that we passed by. One might be the Collector's ship. Can't confirm nor deny that.
Cute Brad, but we catch your draft. He refers to them as elements, a term used by these movies and shows editors and effects crews for Marvel Studios' vast archive of assets and elements across properties. The Collector ship was designed for past Marvel titles, and now shows like Loki have the ability to access the elements for their shows. But now this brings up the questions of what the hell was the Collector doing out here, and why was it so important for Marvel Studios to bring him back like this? The Collector is considered one of Marvel's elders of the universe, alongside the Grand Master, Jeff Goldblum's character in Thor Ragnarok. Tivan dedicates his life to collecting artifacts, a purpose directly linked to his immortality. And while it seemed like Thanos was about to destroy him in Infinity War, this whole interrogation faded away in red smoke as part of Thanos' Reality Stone illusion. The Reality Stone, of course, was last seen hidden in the Collector's vault by the Asgardians in the Thor the Dark World post-credit scene. Now notice how after Thanos drops the illusion, the Collector ship now appears to be a flaming wreck, if that is the same ship. Though we never actually see Tivan's remains. Actually, while he vanishes, he does a silly little wave, something I've always loved from this scene because Thanos must have hilariously conjured this from his own imagination, like he did with blocks and ribbons and bubbles. But I've always looked at it a different way, like maybe Tivan in defeat, as he handed over the Reality Stone, might have allowed Thanos to mirror his likeness so that he could better manipulate Gamora. Just because that little wave makes it look like Tivan might have helped pull something over on the Guardians. Just based on that gesture, I've always read that moment as maybe the real Tivan surviving somehow. And now with this ship's appearance in Loki, I just think his survival is more likely in the MCU. He is an elder of the universe. Now, we don't know when this sighting in Loki takes place because, as has been confirmed by the Loki head writer, all moments in Loki are really set simultaneously as all the other moments in MCU history. But in the seconds that we see his ship, it is soaring away from the galaxy that contained all the voices we had witnessed throughout the Infinity Saga as this universe condenses in a big crunch before exploding again in a big bang. That would mean Tivan could have survived long into the future of the MCU, as we previously knew it, into a new universal cycle. We will soon see one such cycle as the Collector is confirmed to return in episode 2 of Marvel Studios' What If. Actually, the latest featurette directly referenced Loki's imagery of the sacred timeline fracturing as the context within which What If is taking place.
Reality is not a straight line. Every passing moment is a chance for a new offshoot, a new variation. In fact, there are more realities than you can possibly fathom. An infinite number of what ifs.
And previous trailers have confirmed episode 2 will feature Star-Lord T'Challa teaming up with Yondu, Kraglin, Taserface, and Korath, and more on a mission that takes them into the Collector's compound on Nowhere, where T'Challa will apparently meet Howard the Duck, and it will end with T'Challa and Yondu tag teaming to fight a version of the Collector, who now looks jacked and wears special armor with cybernetic enhancements. One of the most interesting things we just learned about Marvel's What If is that the head writer apparently had to scrap an episode concept because Marvel Studios came back to him saying it was too similar to half of James Gunn's planned plot for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Actually, when Gunn heard about this, he responded that he had no clue what this was, and he was real curious about how that could be the case. But if you dread looking at your credit card statements like they're pictures from your 8th grade dance, who thought that haircut would be a good idea? And who has taken pictures of these children? You're not alone! Debt can feel crippling, but Upstart can help you on your path to financial freedom. Upstart is the the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get one fixed monthly payment. Upstart knows you are more than just your credit score and is expanding access to affordable credit. Unlike other lenders, Upstart considers your income and your current employment to find you a smarter rate for your loan. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. You can receive funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/newrockstars. That is upstart.com/newrockstars. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know that we sent you. Go to upstart.com/newrockstars. There was also an odd report back in 2015 in which Zoe Saldana suggested she planned to appear on a Guardians set again with Benicio Del Toro. In retrospect, that could have been the scene that they ended up shooting for Infinity War. Or, since James Gunn has reportedly had his Volume 3 story locked in for several years, half of that script might have involved the Guardians reuniting with the Collector, which is now why this What If episode casts the Collector instead in this short-lived antagonistic role, instead of something else that James Gunn plans on doing with him. One of the most interesting things about the Collector in the MCU is a quote from Benicio Del Toro when he described his character as a kind of altruistic survivalist.
He's kind of like Noah from Noah's Ark. He believes that there's going to be a big catastrophe in the galaxy, in the whole universe, and he's collecting all these creatures to preserve them somehow. So there's an element of altruism.
Looking back, the MCU was certainly headed toward catastrophe, of course, Thanos' snap. But based on Thanos sacking the Collector's vault and stealing his most treasured collection, the Reality Stone, I don't think the Collector saw Thanos coming, nor was Thanos the catastrophe the Collector was planning for, especially since Thanos' snap likely would have impacted half of the Collector's living collection anyway, or even the Collector himself. But now, based on the Collector's ship appearing in Loki, I wonder if the catastrophe he was actually bracing for was Kang and the rupturing of the sacred timeline. Because if you go through this imagery frame by frame, his ship is racing away from the galaxy and toward the barrier of a black hole that borders another black hole, which we realized was presumably tracing the geographical path one would have to take to traverse across universes, if one could hypothetically even survive that journey. Because we don't see the Collector ship make it. It kind of looks like everything gets caught in the big crunch and the big bang that follows. And according to physics, nothing should be able to escape a black hole. But then again, this is also Marvel, and inter-universal travel might just stretch out your face a little. But I like to think the Collector did survive that journey, and as an elder of the universe, it was his purpose to survive Kang and Loki's multiversal crisis by physically bypassing the barrier between universal strands and escaping the crisis formed when those strands collide in with each other. And I hope that part of his Genesis protocol are the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy, specifically Groot, which remember was a specimen that he was notably obsessed with collecting.
What is that thing there?
I am Groot.
I never thought I'd meet a Groot. Sir, you must allow me to pay you now so that I may own your carcass. At the moment of your death, of course.
Maybe because the Collector knew that when a Groot is destroyed, its pieces become roots for new life to spawn. Something quite useful to someone who considers himself the Noah of the multiverse. But what do you think is the Collector's future in the MCU? Comment down below, and you can support New Rockstars by checking out our various merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss. Follow and subscribe to New Rockstars. Thanks for watching. Bye.